And we are live. What is going on, YouTube and gaming community? I am your host, Leon Gunstill, with that Norwegian guy, Nurgle, Lord Nurgle, that is, JT Vega, and Brandon. You need to get an exciting
Nurgle,
name,
Nurgle.
Brandon. Yes,
I already have one.
something shocking just happened to the gaming community just recently. Nintendo president Satoru Iwata has passed away. If you guys,
Is a dark
yeah,
day indeed.
yes. For those who don't know who Satoru Iwata is, for those that have been living under a rock and never even played a Nintendo product, which is like a very small amount of you guys, Satoru Iwata began working at Nintendo in June 2000 as a director, and then he became president in May of 2002 during the start of the GameCube times. I mean, the GameCube came out in 2001, but 2002 is when the GameCube started picking up. And in 2013, he was CEO of Nintendo. This guy, he made a few poor choices, but we all make poor choices in life. We all do dumbass mistakes, and so did he. And what's going on here is Iwata has done more good than harm for Nintendo, because you know what? Out of his 15 years working for Nintendo, Nintendo is still above ground. It hasn't crashed, unlike other companies. Okay, you guys go ahead and say your condolences about or achievements about Iwata and what Iwata meant to you guys as what he did for Nintendo. That is.
I guess I would just like to say thanks for helping shape my childhood. Rest in peace. You know, you basically gave me, as a child, definition as what it is to be a gamer.
In the 80s, there was only one best friend to me, and that was my Nintendo Entertainment System. If it wasn't for that man, I would never have had that. Because all I did was spend most of my life being bullied in school.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I thank Iwata for his contribution to the video gaming industry. The fact that if it wasn't for Nintendo, we wouldn't have a PlayStation 4. We wouldn't have any of these great games we do have now.
Yeah.
Same with Sega Genesis or any of the other consoles or even PC gaming. So, rest in peace, Iwata.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say something.
Go ahead, JT.
He did a lot of great things. His philosophy may have been different about gaming, but he gave a crap about quality in games. He gave a crap about a lot of things, even though a lot of people felt his opinions were not that great, but it managed to help shape the way Nintendo is now. Even though they're struggling with the Wii U, it didn't stop people from buying the 3DS, because the market right now, the market's really huge right now, and chances are, I hope Nintendo can succeed even if Iwata's not around, because he made a lot of things succeed, even if people think it was a joke that he didn't. He did. And the funny thing about it is that most people doubted the Wii U, for example. The Wii U didn't sell games that well, but it sold millions of consoles.
Yeah, it wasn't a complete failure.
I just wanted to say my piece on Iwata. First of all, I wanted to say, give my deepest condolences to his family, friends, and colleagues at Nintendo. I have been very critical of Nintendo very lately, but I still can't ignore the fact that this guy was responsible for making a shitty childhood a lot better. And he was responsible for some amazing games. He was responsible for leading a company and making it a global enterprise, a huge name that everybody, when you think video games, you automatically think Nintendo. And he was one of the people that together with Shigeru Miyamoto and many other people at Nintendo, they saved gaming. They saved gaming and transformed the entire industry, and that is huge because gaming almost died. And after the video game crash, everybody was cynical towards video games. Nobody had any faith in it. Then the guys at Nintendo turned everything around, and then suddenly everyone's interested. They created their own competition, I would say, as well. They inspired so many people to go into video games, and I'm not sure if the industry would be what it was without these guys. And Iwata had a huge role to play in that. And he, together with Miyamoto and everyone else at Nintendo, they were responsible for creating something that has lasted so long as it did. People are still getting excited about Zelda games and Mario games. People are still excited about the Nintendo name all these years later. And that's a testament to what he, to the company that he worked for and to his work at the company. So I will remember this man and for what he made gaming into.
Yeah, I gave an intro, but I want to give my piece about Nintendo. Nintendo has always been that, just like how you guys saw. It's been there for me when I would have almost nobody. Even with my cousins, it would give us something to do. Because Nintendo, for the longest time, kept conventional multiplayer just conventional multiplayer. It wasn't online for the GameCube era. It was just 4 people could sit around in a room, and same with the N64. They both were just like that, and one of the reasons why I like Nintendo so much is they never made their first party games. Yeah, some of them were a little, few of them were bad, but most of them, for the most part, were high quality games. It was like you were buying. It was like the difference between a Nintendo product compared to an EA product was like comparing leather to synthetic. It's like synthetic cracks or rips and stuff, but leather will last for a long time. So you compare, that's a poor analogy, but it's the best one I can think of right now. But it's like you're comparing a company that makes high quality products, puts the best work into it, compared to a company that just chooses that just would rather ship out so many different products at once. So Nintendo's always been there, and Iwata has been here in Nintendo ever since 2000. He hasn't. Nintendo was still above ground, and their games haven't gotten shittier. That's what I have to say. He hasn't killed Nintendo. It's still here.
I wanted to add a point, and like I said, I believe that if you go look into the history with Nintendo and Sega and everybody else in the video game industry, it's so weird, but one of these companies could not exist without the other. If it hadn't been Nintendo, Sega wouldn't have been what it is today, because the whole reason for Sonic existing, a character like Sonic existing, was because Sega desperately wanted to find their own mascot and create their own Mario. The reason why the Genesis became such a great console was because they wanted to create a console that was on par with the Super Nintendo. And there's so much history, and it's all interjected, and a lot of the stuff Iwata was a part of, and it's crazy to think. It's like they are competitors, but there's still a lot of these things would not have existed if it hadn't been for Nintendo. And it's really sad to hear him go, to hear that he died today. It really is sad, and the video game lost a giant. The video game world lost a giant today.
Nintendo lost a titan. Yeah. Nintendo lost a titan, and that's what the title of this video is, because they did. Iwata is a titan. with the other companies doing shitty things like DLC and stuff like that, Nintendo sort of adapted it, but they still made it less shitty compared to just paying for downloadable content. They made it amiibos, which anybody who knows Matt would know that Matt would love to pay. He loves amiibos like crazy. If anybody that knows him, he knows that he loves amiibos like crazy. So it's better for like collectible items like that because I mean, they took the idea of collectibles and put it with DLC, which is not shitty because every one of us knows as a kid we collected stuff, whether it be baseball cards, Pokemon cards, Nintendo games, which was my thing. I collected Nintendo games and movies and stuff like that. But we collected stuff as children, and Nintendo is bringing that back almost. It seems like with Amiibos. It's bad for me to say that, but it seems like it.
Not only the children, but the adults are fighting like crazy for those fucking things.
I just wanted to say one thing. He was after he graduated from university, Iwata joined HAL Laboratory, and he was not technically a part of Nintendo there, but he became a software he started creating software, and he worked closely with Nintendo on the following games: Balloon Fight, Earthbound, Kirby, and he founded Creatures Inc. And he was not technically a member of Nintendo, but he was he assisted in the development and developing Pokemon Gold and Silver.
Whoa, that was a good game.
And in 2000, when he took a position at Nintendo as one of the corporate planners there, he led to the company's revitalization. He basically was responsible for making the first DS as popular as it was, and he wanted to transition the Game Boy to the DS and make it a form factor that allowed for more novel games to be played on it. He also was the guy that pushed the development on the Wii platform, which introduced the motion control system. Both of these proved highly successful, and he's been the face. I mean, people are referred to him as Shop Manager Iwata, and it's because of I mean, there's so many things this guy's been a part of.
Yeah.
He also quick interesting side note. In 2015, Iwata put a part of Nintendo's focus on the growing mobile game market as traditional hardware console sales began to falter, and stated that he would take half his salary to help compete against Microsoft and Sony. This is how much this guy loved what he did.
And that gave me a whole lot. I'd never heard that about Satoru Iwata. That gave me a whole amount of respect for them. While everybody else has their pathetic little golden parachutes, Satoru Iwata just put an iron anvil instead on his back. He literally just put an iron anvil on his back by cutting his pay like that. And you know why he did it? He did it because he loved the company. And you see recently with Microsoft with their executive, I'm not going to be mentioning by name, but what he did recently, screwing up that company and stuff like that. Satoru Iwata was nothing like that. He actually loved Nintendo, and he helped with Earthbound, one of the best in Nintendo.
I just wanted to say as well, I mean, the interesting thing here is that he whenever he was on stage and when he was talking to people on live streaming, I mean, I know a lot of people were very critical of this year's E3 2015 live stream, but it will be remembered because it's Iwata's last, and I have to say, whenever he's on screen and talking, you can feel the excitement he has. You can genuinely tell that he is not just a PR person, he loves this. Unlike Reggie Fils-Aimé, which is the typical corporate guy, while Iwata, and when you ever see Iwata and Miyamoto together on screen, you can tell these guys are very excited to tell you something, especially when they have something that they've been wanting to tell you for years, but finally they can reveal it to the masses. you can see the eyes on both of these guys, how excited they are to tell you about it. And it's and you know, the last time they did something like that, I remember when they announced the new Zelda game and Miyamoto was talking and Iwata was talking. You could just see that they've been wanting to share this for so long, and that really speaks. I mean, I don't speak Japanese, so it's kind of strange for I don't understand the language, and I have to watch this in subtitles. But still, you can tell by their expressions and the tone of voice that they are genuinely excited about what they're doing. So that's all I'm gonna say on Iwata, and I wish everybody at Nintendo well, and I hope they can keep making good games despite his losing such a giant. So
I mean,
I'm just glad people weren't being assholes about this. There were a lot of people I know. At one time, I didn't like Iwata. If you had asked me like 2 years ago, because after the Wii U's release and stuff like that and how terrible it did, I didn't like how they were running it. And usually when that happens, you go to the person that's in charge of everything. But then after seeing how the Wii U rebounded after the last few years, you would know that they're at least trying their best.
well, I think Brandon wanted to say something.
Go ahead, Brandon.
well, I was gonna say that I just wrote something to put it in the comments. Wouldn't mind if would you guys mind if I read it a little bit? It's
Go
Go
ahead.
right ahead.
basically an icon of gaming this day. Satoru Iwata, you helped shape an entire generation of children. You made many
Fuck this
shitty
guy.
childhoods a lot better, and showed an entire generation what it truly means to be a gamer, what it truly means to have fun, what it truly means to let your imagination run wild, and
Oh, that's it.
what it means to be a person who is creative and not some fucking tool, I guess. I don't know, but it's what it means to be a person. And
Yeah.
for that, I have to thank you.
Yeah.
Let him finish. Let him finish.
And for that, I have to thank you greatly for giving an entire generation of kids, possibly multiple generations. I don't know how long you were working at Nintendo, but presumably you were working on games before. Possibly entire generations of kids, what it means to truly experience life in their own way. And for that, I cannot thank you enough, you and your coworkers enough, for doing that. Rest in peace.
That's great.
Okay. Yeah, that was
That's great,
great.
Brandon. Sorry
That was
for
really great.
I muted JT because he was making comments while he was talking, so sorry about that.
Yeah, JT forgot to turn his mic off. There's a little mess up there with JT. Batman wanted
Shit
to ask
happens.
a question here. Wanted to ask a question, so I'm going to let each one of you answer this question. Everyone here. I'm going to answer first. Do you think Nintendo will change from this? Hopefully not. They're going down with the hardware. Maybe they might change with like hardware and stuff, but I hope their software teams do not change. They're doing a good job with their first party games. I don't want them to go to mobile.
No, I don't think they're gonna change that much because you have to remember how Nintendo as a company is run, and the fact that Nintendo is a company that's been running for many years. They have dealt with deaths in the company before, and now here's what's going to happen. They're going to have somebody take over the reins temporarily, which is Shigeru Miyamoto and Takeda. They're going to take over, and they're not going to deviate from any plan that they currently have laid out. Things are going to stay relatively the same. They're going to follow the plan that they made, and they have a plan for this year and next year, and they're going to follow through with it. And starting changing things up radically now is not a good idea. So I don't expect any changes as of right now. Maybe 3 or 4 years down the line, maybe, but that's such a long way off still. So we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens. I think one of the people who will be taking over the company is most likely going to be one of the people who have been there the longest, one of the people who have the respect of the team. So it might be Miyamoto, might be Takeda. I'm not really sure. It's going to be interesting to see. I don't think they're going to change that much. Nintendo will always be Nintendo.
I don't see drastic change coming from them. As in, I see change as in coming from stuff like how they're going to do their next set of hardware, other software, but I don't see anything change with, say, their business practices, such as their DLC and things like that. Nintendo's always prided themselves on quality, and one thing we can honestly admit that Nintendo has always done, regardless of the game they've released, it has always been a complete game that works the day it comes out.
And like the DLC, which let's just call them amiibos because they're not DLC. They're just little, really well built statue, really well designed Nintendo statue. And I don't have one myself, but I've heard that they were really, really good things about the amiibos. So
yeah, I mean,
yeah, and they don't screw around. They don't like say, oh, buy. Yeah, they don't do pre-order bonuses. They don't do anything like that. They just give you a product. They give
actually,
you the
they actually give you bonus items. That's it. That's pretty much how in Japan only. That's it.
Yeah, but that's Japan though, not here. Where
The
we're
U.S. I know.
we're pissed off at pre-orders.
Well, the thing is, the one thing that most people don't. I gotta remind everybody is that in Europe they always had like the bonus stuff, like the Nintendo Club stuff. Remember that stuff?
Yep.
They get in Europe they get far better stuff than the U.S. and that's the sad part about the Nintendo Club stuff.
Iwata, Miyamoto, they love us Europeans. We love you too.
I know, and it's like we get are postcards, and you guys get like the hats and everything. I'm like,
I actually got. I remember when I was 10 years old. I signed up for wrote my birthday name on Nintendo's website at one point, and one of these days I received a day before my birthday I received a huge package from Nintendo. Had a Luigi hat, stickers, a free game. It was like, damn, I love you guys. It was like best birthday present ever.
No, sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I remember being like 9 years old and getting a Game Boy SP. That thing never fucking left me, and just to think that he helped really shape that handheld or that thing that basically lifeline of a childhood that I had. It's even if he didn't, even if the whole multiple generations thing isn't true, it's still great that he still did great things that he could even show one generation of kids how to have fun like that. It's fucking crazy to think that basically someone you didn't even know, because you're a kid, you don't fucking know who's making these systems, but
yep,
it's someone you didn't even know put that much time and love into a company that was basically dedicated to shaping entire childhoods.
And also, yeah, I mean, I also want to say, I mean, I've been very, very critical of Nintendo as of late. I'm not a big fan of the Amiibo thing, but I will say this about Nintendo. They have not gone to shit like a lot of other companies have done, Konami. And and they have genuinely made, and they have not released stuff that has been broken. They have released stuff that works. They release good games. I mean, first party titles on the Wii U are good. You know, Mario Kart 10. It's just so many great titles, and it's stuff that really makes you have fun. Just pure, simple fun. And a lot of people, I think, have forgotten that because I consider myself more of a hardcore gamer. I feel Nintendo is a little too. Maybe I'm getting older, but I still, whenever I see a gameplay video from Mario Kart or a gameplay video from Mario, I just have to. I smile because this was part of my childhood, and it's fun to see kids today when they play these games. When kids who are small children today sit around playing Mario and Mario Kart and on the Wii U, these, about 20 years ago, that was us sitting there playing those games, and people to this day are still, they may have better graphics, they may have better physics, but the idea is the same. The idea that we loved is the idea that still is loved today by a lot of people. So that is an incredible legacy.
Exactly.
That's something I have to, if you don't mind if I add on that, something I have to admit with my son. I remember my son's only 7 years old, and I remember getting him a Wii U because it was tax return time. We picked him up a Wii U because he kept begging for one, and the excitement of that little boy just made my day for him getting that video game system because in his mind it was his game system, not daddy's, so he can play his games. And seeing him enjoy Mario Kart 8 as well as 3D Mario World and all those other games, even some of the games that I grew up with, it really just I can't say how much it touches you to see your own child at a young age with the same wonderment and happiness as you had when you were a child at his age. To just see that on his face. I mean, and he'll never know that the man Iwata is. He'll never know he was the one that brought that to him in his life. But it was definitely one of the greatest things you could ever imagine seeing.
I mean, that's kind of a part of what that is like. While he may never know, it's kind of that's that's a part of childhood right there. Is that, oh, sorry if I'm too loud or something.
No,
You're cool, man.
You're too low.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'll bring the mic closer. Can you hear me good now?
Yeah, right.
Okay. But as far as he may never know, it's that's part of what it is to have to just be a kid, and you may not know who's bringing you this stuff. You as a kid, you just think it comes out of thin air, but for people like us, who actually know who's behind this kind of stuff, that it's just it's looking at kids and looking at people and thinking, wow, this company or this person is responsible for that kid's happiness, pretty much. And there's where the greatness comes in with a company like Nintendo or a person like Shigeru Miyamoto, Gunpei Yokoi, or Iwata.
I just wanted to say, I don't know if when you saw the Nintendo Championship, you can say what you will about that, but those two guys who made it to the finals, and when Miyamoto came out and, shook their hands, and these guys were just shocked. You could tell they basically looked at this guy and went, wow. And, it's like, Iwata will also be remembered by a lot of people like that because I don't know, I'm repeating myself right now. Sorry, Brandon, I'm just repeating myself.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I am too. It's just there's nothing else you can say. It's just that a certain person just brought such wonderment to so many people, and the I mean, that's just part of the wonder. You know, who's bringing me all this stuff? Who's keeping? Who's? I don't know. It's just like almost like you have a relationship with a motherfucker. Like the only other kind of person that can bring you that type of joy is a close friend, and I guess that's how I associate it.
Well, he also brought us one of the characters that my daughter will not go to bed at night without the plush toy of her that I bought her, which is Princess Peach. It's amazing to know how much these characters and these games meant to us as children and as adults even. And it surprised me to hear the news that he had passed away.
Oh
Especially
yeah,
at 55. I'm sorry, 55 to me is a young age. Well,
and
especially
Yeah.
in my 30s.
And let me just say this right here. All of the gamers on YouTube all the gamers on Twitter, YouTube, everywhere are showing their condolences to Satoru Iwata. So the actual gamers, everybody that's actually experienced Nintendo in their own special way, we're all showing our condolences to this guy. And this all I have to say is Satoru Iwata, rest in peace, my friend. You did a good. You helped. You helped. Even though you weren't when I was an actual child during the games, you actually helped shape my childhood, though, with some of the games you guys helped develop. Like for the GameCube, for instance, that game you helped with that system, and there were so many memorable games in the GameCube and the 64, NES, SNES that I played, and the ones that you played as well, the ones that you helped make, there were some memorable ones even on the Wii itself that were pretty good, that weren't terrible. And you know what? I applaud you guys for doing a good job at keeping your first party games really well built. You guys showed quality over quantity in the most extreme way, and I applaud you for it.
You know, before we move on, because I'm starting to get a little too teary-eyed here, I do want to mention that Nintendo was also the company that ended the video game crash of the 80s. If it hadn't been for Nintendo, the game crash, video games would not be a thing now. They wouldn't be where they are today.
oh yeah,
I did mention that, but I wanted to touch on that a little bit, if you don't mind, Nurgle.
Go ahead.
Like I said earlier, if anybody has read, if there's a great book out that was written by a man named Zelensky, I believe his name is. He wrote a book. He was the head of Sega. He was brought in from Mattel to revitalize Sega and start competition against Nintendo. And here's the interesting thing. Sonic would most likely not exist if it weren't for Mario. And the reason for that is that that Sega was so desperate in finding a competitor to a popular character, because Mario was a mascot back. He was a big mascot.
He's still a mascot.
Yeah. I just wanted to say he was a big mascot even back then. But back then Nintendo didn't really have a lot of competitors, which meant that there was one company that tried to create one, and that was Sega. They desperately wanted to create one, so Sonic became a character that was meant to be that would not have been created if I truly believe that he would not have existed if they hadn't followed that model of having Mario. Nintendo has Mario, and Sega also needed a mascot, it's such amazing history there, and I think a lot of people in Sega will look back at this and think, yeah, I mean, none of these companies, after the video game crash, when Atari went down and video games became almost extinct because of the crash, Nintendo came along and they revitalized an industry, and because of their success, many other companies started seeing the value of video games and, hey, we can also get into this. Sega was born. Many other companies many more people started to get into the game development. people who were just scruffy-looking kids decided to make their own games, and the market just exploded. But the interesting thing, a lot of these companies, Sega is on its deathbed right now. Konami is virtually getting the hell out of the AAA scene. Nintendo, on the other hand, they're still going strong. They, so many years later, they are still going strong. But I truly do believe that many competitors that Nintendo have today, Xbox and PlayStation, and yeah, I mean, quick side note, PlayStation would not exist if it hadn't been for Nintendo. And that may be, and it may be weird saying this right now, but Nintendo did something really shitty towards Sony back in the 80s, which made the Sony CEO pissed off, and he created the PlayStation. He created the PlayStation just because he was pissed off at Nintendo. So Nintendo was technically responsible for the PlayStation.
And PlayStation and PlayStation, Sony, and Nintendo were responsible for the reason why Microsoft jumped into it.
Absolutely, everything is connected. So but it has a common thread that all of this goes back to, and that is Nintendo. Nintendo was the catalyst for all of this. I truly believe the industry would be a lot smaller if it hadn't been for Nintendo. They might not even be an industry, and it's just amazing to think of the impact they intentionally had and they unintentionally had.
Okay.
And
yeah.
That's what. Yeah.
Okay. We said a lot about this whole situation. I wanted to give out final thoughts and stuff like that of what has been going on because Neural has some place to go. How you were saying, you have to get on to doing something pretty soon. So
I'm waiting to hear back from those two individuals when they're supposed to come on with me.
Yeah, well, I have to cook dinner and stuff, so yeah, we went way after. Yeah, we went long after what I was planning on doing the stream, a half-hour stream. Yeah. But I wanted to give out final thoughts about this whole situation, what Iwata meant to everybody. Just like one quick final thought. Go ahead, Norwegian guy. You'll go first.
No, I've said so much, and okay. I just wanted to say that the final thought is that I hope I wish everybody at Nintendo, his friends, his colleagues, I wish everybody at Nintendo well. I hope they continue making good things. I hope they continue to excite people. I have been critical of Nintendo a lot lately, but that's still, I don't want to see them go away. I never want to see any company go away. I hope they continue to have successes, that they continue to drive the industry in the way that they have, because they're still a huge part of Nintendo's been a huge part of me as a person, and I'm a gamer, and I'm very proud to call myself a gamer. And it's because of Nintendo that I am a gamer. Even though I am a Sony fanboy now, I still am a gamer because of Nintendo. I can't escape that fact. And so thank you to everybody at Nintendo, and thank you, Iwata, and may you rest in peace. You created something amazing for so many people. You, together with many other people at Nintendo, it was not a one-man thing. There is no I in team, as you know. But still, you were responsible for many great, great things, and you leave behind an incredible legacy. That's all I have to say.
Okay, Nurgle.
Yes, my final thoughts on this is, well, he's gone, but he's not forgotten, and the industry, as we know, is not going anywhere, regardless of what a select few out there has to say about it. But also, Nintendo is still going to be alive and kicking, and I'm sure they're still going to bring many generations fond memories as they have brought us and our children. For those of us on here that have children. I think I'm the only one.
Okay, JT? You there, JT?
Yo, JT.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on this?
You know what? They made some amazingly challenging games for everybody, and it's sad that we're gonna miss another person who.
Okay.
It's just sad. I know. I'm playing a game right now.
Okay, yeah, it's
It's just sad that we lost a person in the industry who basically worked and did the best he could to make Nintendo products good enough for people to buy. And it's sad that we're going to miss the guy who basically helped bring Nintendo up as a great platform for everybody to play. He didn't just, he made families play together. That's the one thing he did about in Nintendo. He when the Wii U was invented, he basically, I believe that he had the intentions to not just have kids play it, but the parents as well, your grandparents, because you remember the Wii U actually was a lot of people. Like, have you seen your grandfather ever play on the Nintendo system?
yeah.
I couldn't say
On
that.
a Wii U. On a Wii U.
In my case, it wasn't really grandpa, but it was a grandmother. And yes, I've seen elderly people play the Wii U, GameCube, N64, SNES, and NES. I've seen elderly people play on all of them. Heck, a local nursing home actually had a retirement home actually had a Wii Sports bowling league.
Wow, I did not know that existed.
Yes,
Yeah,
it does.
and the funny thing is that
Amazing.
old people can play this system.
Yes. It's bad for me to say this, but I don't like the Wii's motion control personally. But you know what? It literally got other people to actually play the game. I mean, yes, it was for a short while because smartphones took over, but it was an ingenious thing. They sold hundreds of millions of units, and they did a
And
hell of
it
a
was
job at
very
selling the Wii
convenient
U.
as well. It was
And the
like a
motion
remote
system,
control. The
like how I
motion
said, the
was like a remote control for them
yeah.
too.
Okay, let me talk now. Like
Go
I
ahead.
said before, they were
Back,
with
Jimmy.
how I said about the Wii Bowling League. They threw the ball and they knew how to control it because we took it. I mean, the tennis was total shit, but the bowling one was actually pretty fun. The rest was shit, but bowling was good. And yeah, so it was there for everybody. And yeah, that's all I have to say. That's my thoughts, really. Brandon, final thoughts for you.
I guess I've just said so much, but it's kind of hard knowing that a part of your childhood is kind of dead in a way, and it's just very basically, as you guys have said, or the title of this stream, Nintendo lost a Titan. I think gaming lost a Titan.
Yes.
It's without Nintendo, none of us would be here right now. Not Gamergate wouldn't have been a thing. None of this. Like, it's just my brain's racing trying to think of something.
Okay, well, just say what you're thinking, and just say one final thought on what you thought of Iwata. And
Iwata, you might have fucked up as of late, but damn, did you leave a good legacy.
yeah, one of my final thoughts about this is Iwata helped my childhood. Even though he didn't directly control my childhood because he wasn't Nintendo that long, I was born in '89, and my first console I ever had was an NES. And then it was an SNES, N64, GameCube, going on, so on and so forth. It was all those systems, and I enjoyed them all. I enjoyed each Nintendo system. There wasn't a Nintendo system I didn't hate. I mean, I disliked the Wii U for the most part, but I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it at all. It wasn't one that I absolutely despised. So Nintendo never made a product that I hated. So for that, I have to congratulate Satoru Iwata on for all of his accomplishments. This man accomplished more in his life than anyone in the other companies altogether. I mean, he did a lot, and he had passion for the game. He had passion. The passion Satoru Iwata showed every week. We all thought Todd Howard showed passion when he revealed Fallout and Doom, but Satoru Iwata showed that passion every month when he did Nintendo Direct. So Satoru Iwata, you are one of the best in our. You're one of the best in our in our basically industry. You are the best. Okay, that's my final thought. I'm gonna close up the stream right now. I have to get dinner going. I wanted to do this just for a half hour long, but yeah. Rest in peace, Satoru Iwata and Nintendo. I hope you guys do really well even with this loss. I hope you guys continue to prosper. Any final words from you guys?
Never change, Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
Never change.
At least build better hardware in the future. That's all I
The
have.
Wii U is still a pretty good system, even though it's best. It's still stable.
Yeah, I can say that. I've never had a day where I've put a Nintendo game into the Wii U and seen that it not work right because somebody had to put in a day one patch. Sony.
Yeah, Microsoft, Steam,
Rocksteady and NetherRealm Studios, I'm looking at you, motherfuckers.
Look at Satoru, to everybody out there. Look at Satoru Iwata, Phil Spencer, and others. I can't think of the Sony's head, but look at Satoru Iwata and look at him as an example of what you should do in the gaming industry, not EA as an example. Look at Iwata, because you're going to be, all of you guys are going to be remembered as the people that are partly responsible for killing the industry. Satoru Iwata is going to be responsible for the guy that's going to save it. He help keep it afloat.
Well, EA no longer stands for Electronic Arts.
No,
it stands for eating ass, because that's all they do is eat ass.
Entirely assholes. That's why I call EA.
They toss the salad.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to close the stream up right now, guys. I've been your host, Leon Gunn, still with that Norwegian guy, Lord Nurgle, JT Vega, and Brandon. What's your nickname, or what's your screen name, Brandon, so I can call you by that?
Flying Cyborg Raptor.
Flying Cyborg Raptor, and with Flying Cyborg Raptor, not Brandon. We will be seeing you guys later. See you soon.